start the recording now, and we will introduce our phenomenal speaker to tonight, the Miss Julie Goswami with FinTech Innovation in Banking and Insurance. We welcome each and every one of you here tonight. And our wonderful speaker is going to hit it out of the park with you. Not only is she going to bring customer experience expertise, but technology expertise, a track record of innovation. She understands it both from the strategy and business process perspective, as well as being an industry thought leader on driving innovations going forward in this particular business area. I think you're in for a fine treat tonight. Again, project management, a background that's rich in methodologies and an understanding of what drives value from a business perspective. And she's a founding member of ASQ Australia and New Zealand, our newest geographies added to the ASQ family. So without further ado, let's welcome Ms. Julie Goswami tonight to speak to us on FinTech innovation in banking and insurance. Let me turn our presentation over to Julie.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. It's an absolute pleasure to be part of this webinar today, and I hope that over the next 1 hour we have some interesting conversations. Let me share my screen. Is that fine? You're able to see? All right. Rhonda, first of all, it's a fantastic opportunity. I'm speaking to you, as you know, from Sydney, Australia. It's about 11 a.m. in the morning, but I'd like to say welcome to all our guests here today. I know it's evening in the US, very late evening in Europe, but also early morning in Asia Pacific. So welcome to everyone. I'm very excited to talk to you today about the FinTech innovation that's happening in banking and financial services. And, today we'll be discussing the implications of the innovation. And as we go through the slides, we'll also see how financial institutions are actually experiencing a seismic shift in the way they operate, the way they're interacting with customers, and the implications that are, evident in better managing risk and customer experience. As we move to the next slide, I'll talk through a little bit about the landscape over the last 2 decades, but it's important to kind of think about the amazing transformation that is happening in this industry. I know some time back, someone said that banking and insurance is very dry, it's very slow, it's akin to watching paint getting dry. But, as we talk through the innovation that we've seen in the last 2 decades, I'm hoping that we'll be able to bust some of these myths and really see the impact that is happening in this industry and how it's forcing incumbents to actually adapt and evolve. And it's really important that financial institutions are leveraging more and more technology to remain competitive and to meet the evolving needs of customers. So we'll move on to our first slide. See what's happening here. We're going to talk through the journey that we've seen and the progress that the industry has made in the last 20 years or so. And this technology that we're seeing both in banking, a lot of fintech, and also insurtechs in the insurance industry is really shaping the future of how this industry is evolving. So let's start with early 2000, where we saw a lot of banking evolve into anytime, anywhere banking. And of course, if we talk to millennials today about checkbooks, they wouldn't even understand what a checkbook stands for or what's the significance of a checkbook. But that's how this industry has really evolved. And today, as customers, we have the convenience of operating from anywhere in the world, operating from a bedroom, or operating from a train, or operating from a ferry, and doing our banking transactions at the drop of a hat with just the click of a button. And the way this has evolved is that initially the banking industry moved away from the brick and mortar, bank to electronic banking. So a lot of the mobile banking apps came into play, and now customers have the convenience of doing everything and also choosing their channel of communication. And a lot of this electronic banking actually led the way for the startup industry in the financial institutions. We see a lot of FinTechs, a lot of InsurTech companies now trying to ride the wave of digital innovation here. And when we talk about that, it's more about, these companies looking at opportunities to adopt the concepts of artificial intelligence, concepts of machine learning. And so in the early 2000s, we saw a lot of these startup companies coming up with much better ways of doing business. So it could be anything from making it easy for the customers. It could be processes that are simplified so that it's just easy for the customers. So, you talk about onboarding processes. Digital onboarding in banking is very common now. In insurance, you see a lot of the claims processes use AI to make it easy for clients to do claims and then get the claims much faster. So obviously there is this evolution of startups, and it's throwing the market open for new and innovative products and services. Other than that, we're seeing new opportunities for big data and analytics solutions. So a lot of the banks and financial institutions are now being able to look into what kind of technical innovations can happen within their institution. And it's forcing them to look at leveraging the huge data that they have over the last few decades and how to best utilize that data to make meaningful, to provide meaningful insights to customers and also take data-informed decisions. So we see analytical solutions in insurance. I can talk through a lot about the insurances that come from the insurance sector, but we're seeing the use of big data and artificial intelligence in underwriting solutions. We're seeing a lot of that in claims. We're seeing in banking where it's moving a lot to personalized banking, personalized offers, personalized investment solutions for customers. The other thing that we're seeing is insurance companies use a lot of telematics and sensor-based technologies. So you will find that for car insurance, the insurance companies are tying up with the car manufacturers to get a lot of data, customized data about driving behaviors, driving trends, etc., which then help to bring about customized pricing, which help to look at proactive risk management for the customers, and so on. And sensor-based technologies, we're seeing a lot of it in the home insurance, where use of smart technologies are enabling customers to manage their risk much better. So from AI and machine learning to big data, we're also seeing the evolution of robotics. One of the first things to go live is really, how can you automate very simple interactions? How can you automate things that are manual and repetitive, and that can take the pain away from the process and also help to deliver much faster to customers? So we can see RPA through, chatbots. A lot of banks use chatbots to respond to customer queries, make it much faster. You actually have it the opportunity to respond to customers 24/7, and customers can reach out at any point of time. So that makes it easy. And of course, the convenience that, you don't have to ask a question only at the times that the bank is available, but actually, ask a question and get a response at any point of time. So RPA is picking up a lot in the banking and financial industry. We're also seeing further from RPA moving on to actual utilization of artificial intelligence. So we're seeing opportunities for AI to augment underwriting. So today, at the click of a button, people are able to get approvals for small loans. They're able to get through credit card applications much faster. We're also seeing chatbot solutions driven by intelligent AI. So more complex kind of issues, more complex resolutions through smart artificial intelligence. And then, you would have heard about open banking technology, how incumbents are now, getting challenged to share the customer data so that people can utilize the trends overall for the industry as such. And everyone in the industry can really leverage the insights available from customer data. So we're evolving to open banking. In Australia, I can talk about Macquarie Bank that has started leveraging a lot of this kind of technology and progressing a lot on these kind of innovative solutions in the market. And other than that, we've seen blockchain. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about cryptocurrencies and how blockchain is the fundamental technology being used there. In the banking and financial services, blockchain is now being used to build a lot of platforms for payments, a lot of trading finances through use of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology. And you would hear a bit about a decentralized finance as well, DeFi as it is called. And DeFi is also about leveraging blockchain technology. So basically, it's about moving away from centralized banking to decentralized banking. And with the advent of newer technologies like facial recognition, fingerprint scanning, etc., it's become all the more important. And we've seen how COVID actually made it so hard for all of us in the industry. And it is in times like this when biometric authentication becomes so very critical, because everybody's, operating through digital tools and technology. So facial recognition, fingerprint scanning, etc., becomes very, very important to minimize risk and really increases the security of banking transactions. And finally, a lot of insurance companies and banks are now looking at the impact of climate change, the advent of and the frequency of extreme weather conditions is making it so hard for traditional models to work. So that has a significant impact on, let's say, in the banking industry in terms of valuation of assets, or even in insurance, pricing properties, or pricing properties in specific locations that have a much more that are much more open to these kind of climate change impact. So that has a huge follow-on effect on insurance claims, on the profitability of the portfolio, and so on. So now this is creating opportunity in the industry for innovative companies to look at the impact of climate change and being able to proactively talk about how insurance firms and banking companies can understand what is the impact of climate change into pricing, into portfolio management, and so on. So in a nutshell, there is huge implications of the kind of digital innovation that we can see now in banking and financial services from where we were 20, 25 years ago to where we've currently come. And there is absolutely no doubt that financial institutions can leverage the technology available to really stay competitive in the market and to be able to meet almost evolving and unmet needs of customers. I'll pause here and see if there are any questions at all on this slide, or happy to kind of progress to the next one.
And that's
Rhonda, are there any questions as of now? I believe there are, and so we kind of progress to the next slide, which talks about what does this mean then for the financial services industry, and how is it transforming the way we bank and the way financial institutions are operating. So we'll talk a little bit generically about the industry overall, and then once we cover this slide, we'll talk more about, okay, but what does that then mean for the ecosystem? What does it mean for the incumbents, and how is it impacting customers? But first, let's talk overall about what are the transformative changes that we can see. Let's touch a little bit about risk management. Now, artificial intelligence in particular, and the algorithms that come with it, can enable you to almost analyze vast amounts of data. So including market trends, customer behavior, and so it can identify potential risks and help financial institutions make informed decisions. And simple examples are, it can help you assess credit worthiness of borrowers, and thereby it can reduce the likelihood of defaults and improve your risk management. What it also does is that it helps detect fraud in real time. So it improves the overall security and minimize financial losses. In terms of customer experience, it has certainly uplifted the experience significantly. As I mentioned, AI-powered chatbots now have, give you 24/7 access. You can absolutely bank on getting instant responses for loans and insurance products. And also, it just helps improve the overall customer satisfaction and ensures loyalty of customers. AI algorithms also analyze customer data to provide personalized financial advice. So in the banking industry, you will now see that utilizing customers' behaviors and trends, you can offer personalized investment strategies to people. You can offer products and services based on individual specific needs and goals. And in terms of efficiencies that have come into the industry, of course, RPA and automation, it can now simplify the repetitive tasks. And so it offers a lot of flexibility and capacity back into the into the processes. So you can use your experienced people to now work on more complex and strategic tasks, and leave the simple repetitive tasks for RPA and AI to manage. So you can see chatbots a lot in banks. You also see, on the software side, chatbots that work with the systems to be able to enable much faster copy paste and eradicates manual data, and then offers you the opportunity to kind of automate those kind of simple processes. So let's say example could be an ingestion of form. So people write out forms by hand, and then people send quote slips to insurance companies. A lot of that data can now, or machines and AI can actually read that data and then absolutely document it in a much better and smarter way. So things like that is really enabling efficiencies in the industry. And we're seeing financial institutions work collaboratively with digital companies that are bringing in a lot of these solutions to the industry. And in terms of fraud detection, I mean, for banks and financial institutions, fraud is a very, very big risk. And so the ability to read and assimilate information, vast amounts of information, and then be able to real time be on top of it to understand how to minimize risk and how to minimize fraud is a huge advantage that this industry is now seeing. And you'll see a lot of fintechs and insurtechs in this space, and a lot of them have originated from the early innovation seen in the electronic banking. So that kind of paved the way for these insurtechs and fintechs to find very, very smart digital solutions that are bringing in so much benefit to this industry. So we almost, and from a customer's perspective, you can multitask much easier now. You have all your banking apps available on your smartphones. Just with a click of a button, you can enable transactions nationally, internationally. There is so much benefit in the kind of technologies that we are now seeing in this space. And finally, the opportunity, the huge opportunity that we're seeing in the market. So we will talk a little bit more in our next slide about the advantages that we're seeing for the ecosystem. There is so much opportunity for new streams of revenue, and a lot of the institutions do want to have the first mover advantage. And sometimes it's not always about being the first mover, but also being the quick second learner, so that you can learn through the experiences of the first mover and then be able to build in those learnings into your own operating model. So with that, I'll move on to the next slide, which talks about, okay, what then is the impact on the ecosystem? So while we spoke about the broad impact of better risk management, improved customer experiences, a lot of innovative products and services, we'll talk a little bit about the underlying impact onto the ecosystem. So first of all is the lowered barriers to entry. Now, I want to talk about this because in the banking and financial services industry, it's always been dominated by incumbents, and that's basically because the barriers to entry were very, very high. But with these kind of innovative technologies now enabling fintechs and insurtechs to get into this market, it's absolutely lowered the barriers. So, and what it is doing is that it's actually forcing incumbents to relook at their operating models. It's forcing incumbents to find new revenue streams, find new operating models to keep up with these technology. And I'll give you examples, like even the likes of Munich Re now have, let's say, a innovation venture. And what they do is that they invest a lot in homegrown technology that is future focused, And they also do a lot of partnerships with digital players in the market to be able to understand these technologies and to be able to see how it can drive value in their business, how it can drive value in looking at better risk management, in better pricing, and so on. So definitely there is the barriers to entry have absolutely changed in this industry now. And the other big impact is the disintermediation. So what I mean is that in this industry, it traditionally the model was to focus a lot on intermediaries. So in banking as well as insurance, you have agents and intermediaries, brokers who do a lot of the providing advice to clients. So traditionally, it would always be, going to the people who can give you the right advice. But now, with the advent of direct access and the ability to transact directly, we are seeing new models that are emerging where, while the intermediation is still there, I wouldn't say that, the intermediation has gone away completely, but every financial institution is now seeing new operating models where they're absolutely challenged to offer direct access to customers. So you're seeing a lot of direct operating models where through innovative websites, through innovative smart technology sitting behind those websites, companies are now offering direct access to customers to be able to buy their products, to be able to get customized advice, and so on. The other thing that is happening is that this is now opening up new avenues of business in data and analytics. This industry is becoming bigger and larger, and because of two reasons: that the opportunity to really look at how they can use the data for meaningful insights, and how those insights could then enable data-informed decisions. And in many cases, we're now seeing companies starting to try and become more data-centric and be data-driven. But instead of being data-driven, I would say that a lot of these companies are actually using data and information to be informed, well-informed, and then take the right decisions. So you will see a lot of fintechs and insurtechs dealing in data. It could be anything from providing much better customer insights, much better information around customer behavior and trends that are happening. It could be enabling customized pricing. It could be enabling data and analytics to augment underwriting in insurance. It could enable much better data and analytics to simplify your processes in claims, etc. So huge opportunity in this industry, and the ecosystem is opening up for new companies that have the smarts to work in this and bring about really insightful information. And finally, I would like to touch upon the collaboration. So when electronic business, electronic banking came into play, and when artificial intelligence and machine learning was evolving 10 years ago, there was an expectation that the market would get disrupted in such a way that new companies would absolutely take away the market share. That was the expectation when all of this talk started happening at least 10, 15 years ago. But over time, we are seeing that instead of disruption in the sense of market share disruption, we are seeing more collaborative partnerships in the market. So financial institutions have certain advantages that new companies don't have. For example, financial institutions have the brand. They have built a trust with customers, and they have been operating in the market for a while that enables that confidence and trust in them. So that takes time to build. But financial institutions have challenges in terms of technology, outdated processes and systems, aging technology. And what is happening in the market is that both incumbents as well as new players in the market have realized that the sweet spot is actually trying to collaborate and partner with each other. So these new technology companies have the smarts, the insights, the technology, and the tools to actually build value for these incumbents. And the incumbents understand that the bureaucracy of their decision making and their legacy systems is going to make it much harder, and it's going to be a much longer process for them to be able to build these technologies. But if they partner and collaborate with each other, then the industry as a whole is seeing much more value generated through the innovation of tools and technologies. So what we're seeing is partnerships for shared value. So, for example, in Australia, QBE is one of the largest general insurers, and QBE's got a QBE Ventures arm that looks at new technologies, that collaborates very closely with the insurtech industry, and is looking to supporting promising new players in the market. So if QBE's strategy is, innovative risk management, then they are on the lookout for all the insurtech companies that actually can provide much smarter insights into better risk management, into proactive risk management, and how they can then allow for this to be passed on to their clients and to their customers. So we're seeing a lot of change in the ecosystem. As you can see, from a few companies dominating the market, we're now seeing the emergence of very innovative technologies and new companies that are coming with value-driven processes and solutions that are very much focused on how can we generate value for the customer, how can we make it easy, how can we simplify it for the customer, and then they're trying to leverage the deep knowledge and understanding of customers that the incumbents have. And they're also trying to leverage the data that the incumbents have, because new companies have the technology, but they don't necessarily have the customer behavior and trends. But by collaborating in this way, incumbents and new companies are able to bring real value into the market. And of course, for the customers, it's an absolute win-win, because you can see that customers are enjoying the benefits of these new technologies, the benefits that they're getting in terms of much more convenience in managing their day-to-day lives, their transactions in banking, managing insurance much better. They're getting a lot of value for money. There is a lot of personalization that they're able to get. Now, there is a bit of distance to go on personalization, but we are starting to see the initial benefits of, pricing on the basis of your behaviors. We're seeing customized offerings and solutions based on the customer's genuine needs and where the customer is placed in the life cycle. So absolute benefits that are generating from this wonderful collaboration that we're seeing in the industry. I'm happy to talk a little bit more about then the next slide, which is covering covering a little bit about the innovation itself and why innovation needs to be linked to strategy. So we've spoken a lot about how has the industry evolved, what's the benefit that we're seeing in the industry, how is it changing the ecosystem, what benefits is it bringing to the incumbents, how is it challenging incumbents to change their operating models, and But it's important to understand that innovation by itself means that you're bringing innovative new products or new services to the customer. Could also mean that you're leveraging existing innovations, but you're packaging that in such a way that it's becoming an innovative product that's now adding value to customers. When you're doing all of this, it's important to understand its linkage to strategy for long-term success. Now, strategy by itself is all about being very clear and having a well-defined plan of action to meet your goals. So innovation and strategy go hand in hand. And this is very, very important because when financial institutions align the innovative efforts with their strategic objectives, then they can identify an absolutely clear roadmap that outlines your priorities, the resources that you need, and the timelines needed to achieve the goals. So that basically gives you an absolute clear roadmap for the future. And this also then enables financial institutions to focus their innovative efforts on areas that are most critical to their success, such as, developing new revenue streams or looking at much better customer engagement, your enhancing of risk management, etc. By doing so, then, because you've got focused efforts on your key priorities, that itself can help achieve a much better return on investment and minimize the risks associated with innovation. And finally, innovation's linkage to strategy is extremely important to build a culture of innovation. And this is important because then you have a vision of shared purpose. And that is extremely important because otherwise innovation will be working in silos as a parallel, department or a parallel process. But to be able to drive innovation within the organization, the fundamental culture is absolutely critical. And that's when, you can foster collaboration, you can foster experimentation and creativity, all of which is absolutely essential for developing innovative solutions. And I want to talk a little bit more about culture because innovation is also something that that is very, very critical to growth. And it's a little bit abstract because it requires bold bets and a willingness to persevere despite, let's say, setbacks or criticism or uncertainty that comes with it. And it needs a very innovation-centric purpose within the organization and a culture that enables creation of value for the organization. And when you think about it, I mean, there is this emotional journey that people go through when you talk about innovation. And innovation often instills fear in the minds of people. So innovation could be, could be very positive and motivating for some individuals. And on the other hand, the challenges of innovation is that it could drive fear of uncertainty, fear of criticism, fear of career impact. So it's very, very important that organizations that are focused on innovation build that culture of innovation to be able to provide psychological safety, a purpose and encouragement so that you can allow people in the organization to find the courage to risk failure in the pursuit of creative ambitions. So that's why it's important that innovation is linked to strategy. And when the leadership talks about it and when the leadership allows for an environment where people are not fearful of failing, that's when innovation can really be successful. So hopefully that kind of explains why innovation should be closely linked to strategy. And now I would actually like to talk a little bit more about how we can harness innovation. How do we create and embed this kind of a culture? But happy to kind of pause and see if there are any questions, any comments at this stage. Sorry. So seems there aren't any, so I'll just continue and talk a little bit about how we can harness innovation in banking and financial services, and how can we drive true value realization, because that's what innovation is all about. So let's start with the collaboration. I touched a little bit about why it's important to collaborate, and the pace at which new companies can bring about innovative solutions is unmatchable compared to incumbents who get slowed down by their existing processes, existing decision making, the legacy systems and technologies. So one of the first things that we need to think about is to harness innovation, we really have to start collaborating very well with startups. And that's where the ecosystem is very, very critical. And once that collaboration keeps happening, you get into this cycle of piloting, looking at initial agile ways of working, come up with a prototype, test it, pilot it, learn from the experiences, and then work towards a full-fledged solution. So collaboration is key, and we're seeing a lot of it in the industry. I know that, for example, even American Express is collaborating with Cabbage, which is an innovative, solutions. Which provides innovative solutions to customers. Now, why is Amex doing that? Amex is doing it because Amex knows that Amex has the brand and the trust of the customers, and it has the entire customer base. But they need smarts and they need innovative products and services that someone like Cabbage, who's nimble, who has innovative solutions, and by collaborating with Cabbage, they can actually offer much better value to customers. So a collaboration is key. You also get to know what's happening in the industry, because these new digital companies are working on state-of-the-art technology, state-of-the-art solutions. So you absolutely are able to get the benefits out of collaborating with digital companies, and the new startups also get the benefit of the advantages of data and customer from the incumbents. The other important thing is investing in AI infrastructure. So what does that mean? It means that, you have to invest in technology and data to be able to effectively implement and integrate AI into the operations. So infrastructure is key, such as, cloud computing, data storage solutions. You have to be progressing towards these kind of solutions and technology stack to be able to leverage the innovative solutions in the market. What it leads us to then is, when you collaborate together and you invest in the right infrastructure, you're also going to find opportunities to gather and utilize customer data. So looking at analyzing data, looking at the ability to assimilate huge data sets and then be able to generate meaningful insights about customer behavior, customer preferences, and then using those insights effectively for decision making. The more you continue to build on a model like this of utilizing the data, understanding the implications, and then taking meaningful decisions, that's the way to kind of continuously harness innovation and bring value to the market. And while we do all of that, it's important to prioritize, you know, transparency in the system. So transparency is about giving visibility to everyone in the organization about how we are utilizing innovative technology, how we're utilizing it across the business, how we're utilizing it for decision making. Focusing on ethics and transparency is also key to successful implementation of innovation. And then also it's very, very important to stay informed about regulations and trends that are happening in the industry. Now, often, technology is there, but it also it's important to understand the regulatory environment and what is permitted in the industry, working within the boundaries of that. So sometimes, digital companies come up with really innovative solutions, but to be able to stay competitive and to be able to implement innovation, you have to be informed about what are the regulatory boundaries and how to best utilize innovation within those boundaries. Because sometimes you're not able to implement it if you're not aware of the regulations and trends. So keeping on top of it is critical. And finally, investing in innovative talent and investing in the culture. I spoke a little bit about why culture is so important. We've heard about how culture can eat strategy for breakfast. It's very, very important that, the leadership mindset, the innovative mindset is absolutely embedded into the culture of these organizations. And then the importance of investing in talent, encouraging people to open up their minds and open up the thinking and be fearless about, the journey, because sometimes you got to fail to be able to understand how you can really innovate. So failure is part of innovation journey. So understanding all of that, having the right culture that embeds innovation and investing in people and talent is critical. So I've summarized these 6 as some of the key things that are important to harness innovation, but obviously, this is not a limiting view. There are other things that could be critical, but when I analyzed and tried to understand what are the key drivers for harnessing real value out of innovation and how to be able to continue harnessing innovation in the future, then these are some of the fundamental building blocks that are absolutely necessary to be able to drive the benefits of innovation. And finally, I thought that it's important that while we've discussed about the landscape and how the banking and financial industry has evolved, what's the impact that is having on incumbents, how's the ecosystem evolving, it's important to understand and really focus on the frameworks that can help financial institutions drive innovation in their institutions and innovation in the industry. And given that this is a quality ASQ webinar, I thought it very, very important to share with you the Baldrige Innovation Framework that we have and how we could leverage this framework to be able to bring in innovation and bring in the advantages of embedding innovation into the organization. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard about the Baldrige Innovation. I'm sure a lot of you actually follow this framework, but it's very, very important to talk about it as how this framework focuses on integrating the principles of innovation across the organization, starting with, your strategy, starting with your leadership vision and the values that are important for the organization, and then making sure that all the communication is covers covers innovation concepts, talks about innovation, talks about the examples of innovation, um, provides the comfort to people about the benefits of innovation and how it's okay to fail and learn from innovation. So talking continuously about it and offering examples of innovation that is bringing value to the business are great examples of how you can embed innovation in the culture. And it's not only about the strategy and the vision, but it's also about how you embed it into your everyday processes. How do you measure impact of innovation in the way you're looking at productivity, the way you're looking at improving customer experience, your measurements of employee experience, everything linking measurement to the different operating mechanisms of the organization. And then really linking it to, okay, how is it driving the right results? How is it driving the right outcomes? Are the customers getting the benefit and the impact of this innovation? What is the impact of innovation in driving innovative products and solutions for our customers? How is it driving change and behavior in our employees? How are employees feeling about it? So really, linking innovation through the entire fabric of the organization and embedding this culture of innovation in everything, starting from the strategy and vision to day-to-day operations and to tactical measurements, is what this innovation framework is all about. So I just felt that while we've spoken a lot about it, many of you may be interested in understanding, okay, how do we make this come alive in an organization? What is a good framework that you could rely upon? So happy to send more links to the Baldrige framework. I'm sure Linda, I'm sure Rhonda and her ASQ innovation team can provide more insights into the innovation framework that is available for all of us to leverage and use to drive the right results and to be able to embed a culture of innovation. So that's all I had in my slides today. I'm happy to kind of open it up for a few questions, any thoughts or feedback that you have around our session, and happy to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Julie. Again, a wonderful presentation, so very insightful, really brings business and technology and innovation through the lens, not only of finance, but through the lens of the consumer, through the client, through our everyday life. So I'm so very appreciative for all of the insights that you offer and really made us think about what that looks like going forward. I think we do have one question, Julie. We actually have a couple here come in for you. So first, question is from Karen. What flaws have you seen in training that impede innovation by having users underutilizing new systems and thus do not get to proficiency levels where they can start innovating to the next level? So is there something systemically broken in training?
Great question. I mean, it's so easy to really flaw here, to error here, because the people who bring about innovation in products and services understand it so well that at the time of implementation, there is this sometimes the gap in trying to clearly articulate, the mechanics of this new product or service, or understanding the implications of the innovation. So training is so very important, and often you see that happening. The product is great, but the implementation fails because of stuff like this. And as I said, it's a journey and an emotional journey as well. So linking the innovation to successful implementation has other important parts to it, like training, etc. But I mean, I know I have seen in my own experience where ineffective training or inability to get into the details of it often leads to failures. So people who train need to understand the concepts and the value that is bringing, that the product or service is bringing to the table. And you know, people need to understand the implications of the innovation to truly lead to value. So you're very right. I mean, training is so critical in getting the implementation right. And we do see in real life how the product is great, but the implementation fails because of the lack of training. So yes, I believe that, you know, investing in that is equally important for the successful implementation of innovative products and services. Rhonda, would you like to add anything to it in your view?
Thank you so very much. I think you answered that perfectly. And we have one more queued up and teed up for you, if you would be so kind. So I think we had a comment about thanking you for sharing your thoughts on innovation and FinTech. They really loved the update on what's happening in the industry, the need to create an innovative culture with collaboration with new interests, the AI infrastructure, etc. Akalesh says what he generally sees is that these concepts are being well mined by industry leaders for the value add that they bring. So he wants to say, one is within innovation within this FinTech space, what tools do you yourself, your organization, the industry provide to people to think about aspect? Is there a tool, a framework, a methodology that they're using to, like Baldrige, right? The innovation framework is very holistic. You shared this. Is there something else that you use in parallel to help people understand the continuum of innovation and how they can apply it, say, to the process and the people and then other aspects of their organization?
Yeah, a fantastic question. And it's not an easy answer because different organizations use different tools and techniques to kind of focus on a better understanding and knowledge of FinTech. I mean, what I have seen, for example, in QBE where I work, we have two ways of doing it. First of all, QBE invests in QBE Ventures, which is an innovative arm that kind of, you know, brings to life different success stories of innovative products and services in the market. So you have opportunities for people in the organization to learn about what's happening in the industry, and then they give you opportunities to understand the product, what's the success, you know, what are the examples of benefits, etc. And so, you know, sharing knowledge, sharing success stories is a great tool for people to understand about what's happening. A lot of what you see is that, you know, you also have stuff like innovative, culture-driven opportunities like, you know, hackathons in the organization where you get people together and you get them to brainstorm different solutions, and that's how you generate interest and enthusiasm. But in terms of the industry, the InsurTech and FinTech industry have well-established opportunities where they bring companies and innovative thinking and minds together to give visibility about what's happening in the industry, you know, talk about specific innovations and about companies actually adopting these innovative tools. So it's an evolving market. I think education and exposure to what's happening in the market is what's going to drive more innovative thinking.
I love it. Thank you so much. And again, just a warm thank you for the phenomenal content, the way that you approached it, Julie, and just really helping for us who are not part of this FinTech industry to understand innovation and the digital transformation that's transforming our own lives across every aspect that we know it today. We're so very grateful for you sharing your knowledge and resources with us tonight. And we hope that all of our attendees enjoyed the conversation and gained great value from the phenomenal discussion that Julie led us on tonight. Speaking about having innovation worlds collide with our phenomenal membership, we invite you to engage with us, join us, support us in our My ASQ technical community. We invite you to read more about our ASQE Insights on Excellence so that you can better understand what Julie was saying, how organizations are applying innovation in new and novel manners to drive their value add across the globe. If you are not a member of ASQ, we welcome you to join both ASQ and ASQE. And last but not least, we invite you to our upcoming innovation presentations on 3/20 with Dr. Kai Young and on 4/27 with Mr. Vidusha Nathavathanra, who will be leading us on a discussion on collective leadership. We also want to wish you a phenomenal 2023. Innovation is at the heart of what each and every one of us usually does in some way, shape, or form in our organizations, with our teams, in our communities, and with our families. And we get a great amount of thought leadership and content leadership from our wonderful TC officers. So we want to just welcome them and recognize them for their value and the contributions that they're making, not only to the community, but the organization writ large, and the continued focus on growing innovation around the globe with each and every one of you. If you're interested in joining our team in the future, either as a future speaker or a volunteer, or just want to learn more about innovation in general, we welcome you to contact our 2023 chair, Ms. Rebecca Mott, at rmott@memberleader.asq.org. Again, we thank you to our phenomenal speaker, Julie Goswami, and welcome her contributions into our newest organizational unit, and we'll look forward to the phenomenal success that she brings to the organization and that she achieves in her innovation roles going forward. ASQ Innovation TC out for tonight. Thank you for your attendance.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Thank you.